Our Shastras clearly say an exposition should be made by a proper person. Who is a proper person? Who has experienced what he says, who is an authority in himself, who has the sole aim of enlightening the others with a fondness, with a fascination and with a flair. He identifies himself so much to the pursuit of propagation or dissemination that he is very wholesome in the whole aspect. Such a person, a seer, is called the Sadguru. That Sadguru, our Shastras say, Acharya Mukhad Eva Avagantavyam. The supreme truths of life have to be heard from an Acharya. Acharya is one who first of all inquires into the subject, knows it by his own pursuit, contemplation and whatnot, and ultimately he starts practicing it, manifesting it, displaying it, and then he acquires the natural competence, qualification to expose it for the benefit of others. This is called a Sadguru, an Acharya. From such a Sadguru, if you start speaking, hearing, it is for the speaker to reach your minds and intellects and lead them to where they should reach. So if you are listening to me, Bhoomananda Swami, Swami Bhoomananda, he has got an aim, he has got a purpose, he has got an object of leading and guiding your minds to the inner spiritual splendor. And you will find I shall be doing it provided you are in conjunction with me in listening. So I am very particular about that. Take to it in a very wholesome manner. I don't want you to be unduly serious or tense about it. I will go on speaking. You will not be seeing me except on the screen, and you can see me, listen to. All the words will automatically come and strike your eardrums, and by their very nature, in an ideational manner, in the form of ideas, they will trickle further down into your inner personality to become assimilated by it and remain ever as a constant, incorrigible influence. This is what will happen. In making an exposition very effective and sublime, the speaker counts. It depends upon the speaker to decide what he should speak and why he should speak and what he wants the listeners or the viewers to do. So he must have the necessary sublimity and the necessary attitude. I would like to say the austerity and intention also. All these are mind born, intelligence born. So the inner personality is what counts here. Ideas by their very nature are sentient. Sentient. Ideas are not words. Words are denoting the ideas. When it comes to a question of idea, it is the mind alone that can give rise to ideas. These ideas are transmitted into the vocal system, and the vocal system is what gives a shape called words and other things, and they are emitted in the form of sound vibrations by the mouth. But they are really ideas. And these ideas, I think they are ineffable. We cannot say what it is consisting of. It is an expression of consciousness, we can say, otherwise we won't be able to explain it. They have got wonderful power. What is that power? To touch, involve and dissolve into your mind. As I am speaking, I will touch your eardrums in the form of sounds. After that, I will trickle further down in the form of beautiful, ineffable, what shall I say, vibration or waves. And whether you admit it or not, all of them will get dissolved into your system. And the resultant outcome will be that the personality will get transformed. This is what happened to Parikshit after listening to Shuka Muni for 7 days. The same thing happened to Arjuna in a short period of 2 or 3 hours in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. All that Arjuna did was listen to Krishna, bas. Only that, nothing else. He just listened to him. And the process of listening suddenly exhorted him, took away his tears, removed his grief, and Arjuna stood as an enquirer and he started raising pertinent questions. Krishna started answering. It became a beautiful, mutually complementary dialogue. All this happened in the course of 2 hours. In the case of Parikshit, he took about 7 days because he was already fated to die on the 7th day, smitten by Takshaka, the cobra. So he undertook a prayopavesha, a fast unto death, I may speak more about it later, not now. And he went on listening to Shukamuni. Only listening. He never got up from the seat. He never went to a mountain to do austerity. Nothing of that sort. He simply heard and heard, that sort. And see the effective listening. This effective listening will take place only when a competent and a sufficiently experientially qualified person exposes the truth, and a devout and a devoted set of people view or listen to him. This is what happens. Now, our country, I said, has developed the legacy of Tattva Kathana, Purana Kathana. How has it happened and why? See, generally Puranas are described to be a mythological lore. I always say mythology is what? A science of myth, like sociology, biology, anthropology, physiology, etc. This is also a mythology. But mind you, mythological texts and compositions are there. And there are a number of supernatural elements in many Puranas, I agree. But mind you, the writer was not a myth, and the writing is not a myth. This you should understand. I can resort to any kind of a narration. There are many novels. Many things which they mention are not facts. But the writer has a purpose. Normally it is to entertain the people. Seldom it is to enlighten them. The Puranas have the supreme role of enlightening even the common man. We have the Vedas, the prehistoric, most ancient Vedas. Vedas actually are a knowledge treasure. The word Veda itself is derived from the root vid, to know. So the entire Vedas are a repository, a treasure house of knowledge. You need to look into the Vedas only to get knowledge. What is the knowledge that they discuss? That knowledge which is not accessible to the senses. Am I clear? Are you listening to me? Normally, in order to approach any object in this world, we have only senses. With the eyes we see, with the ears we hear, with the nose we smell, with the tongue we taste, and with the skin we touch. So we have only Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha. We have sound, Sparsha, touch, Rasa, taste, Rupa, color, Gandha, smell. The world may be manifold, endless, infinite. It contains infinite distances and infinite variety. You may be amazed, surprised, astounded by the world. Let it be. But when I approach to experience the world, the entire manifold becomes reduced into 5. Just like we have 5 fingers, it becomes just 5. I wonder whether you are listening to me and understanding me. See, the entire world is magnificent and infinite. What of it? When they come to me or I approach them to experience the world, to perceive the world, they become colors to be seen by the eyes, sounds to be felt or heard by the ears, smells to be cognized by the nose, taste to be tasted by the tongue, and different forms of touch, softness, hardness, etc. to be felt by the skin. So where is the manifold gone now? Everything is gone. Is the world manifold or 5-fold? Do you have an answer to give me? Do you have an answer to give me? Is the world manifold or 5-fold? I am asking you. Your answer can only be 5-fold. 5-fold. When the 5-fold world goes into the mind to create mental responses, they become just 2. What are they? Either I am pleasant or I am unpleasant. So the manifold in the sensory level became 5, and the 5 in the mental level became 2, and when I go to sleep, what happens? Even that is wiped off. Wow. What is this? What is this jugglery? I myself say the world is imposing and manifold. When I analyze the statement, I find it is 5-fold, it is 2-fold, and it is nothing. So our mind is capable of perceiving the world as well as obliterating or wiping off the world. So what is the power of your mind, my dear souls? Are you a small human, or are you the greatest of the great, or greater than the greatest? What do you have to say? I will make you re-evaluate your own status, merit, potential, scope and possibility. Yes, I shall do it. Our scriptures intend to do this. They have done it. That is what Shugamuni was narrating to Parikshit. And on the 7th day, Parikshit clearly admits, my dear sage, I have understood the message. I have no more delusion or fear. It does not matter to me whether the fated cobra comes and bites me or not. I am withdrawing my senses from the entire world around. What? Parikshit says on the 7th day, and mind you, he had not taken food for 7 days. I don't know whether you will be able to speak after 7 days if you are continuously fasting. He says that, I have withdrawn my senses from the manifold visible outside. I have withdrawn my mind from the senses. I have withdrawn my intelligence from the mind, and I am sunk deep into my own inmost glory, inmost splendor. Are you hearing me? Parikshit completely got away from the world about which you are complaining and for which you have many fascinations. He completely withdrew himself. Ultimately, he sank into the inner splendor and glory. It is at that time that the fated Takshaka came, bit him, and from the poison arose a fire, and in the fire the whole body of Parikshit, the great king, burnt off, was reduced to ashes. But Parikshit did not know. It was the people who were around, who witnessed, who observed the whole phenomenon, and they are reporting to us. If this much of magical effect can be had by a truthful exposition and a loyal and faithful listening, what do you think of the inner spiritual splendor we are going to telecast for all of you? Is it something of a small dimension? Is it not something very invaluable? And every one of you is blessed in that you are able to listen to this exposition. This is the only one which enables you to understand what you are, how much you are, what is your potential, what is your possibility, what is it that I can do in this world. Don't say that I am poor, I am weak. No, I cannot. Our body completes its growth at the age of 21. Thereafter it begins to decline and decay. If at all anything is to grow, it is the mind and the intelligence. And both of them will continue to grow till the last breath. There is no limit to be set before the human mind, nor before the human intelligence. They are infinitely powerful, glorious, splendorous. Understand this very, very well. So our Puranas are meant to expose this truth in a graphic, illustrated manner to the ordinary people. Why so? It is the Vedic Upanishads. I told you about Vedas, the knowledge treasure. In the Vedas, the inner subject is discussed, which is not normally perceptible to the senses. All the other things Vedas don't speak about. Whatever the senses can perceive and do perceive, Vedas never speak about them. Whatever the senses cannot penetrate into, namely the horizon inside the body, about which alone the Vedas speak. But the discussion by its very nature, you can say it is a little subtle, and perhaps intelligent people will have to hear the exposition. So not all and sundry will be able to avail of what is exposed. So they decided the glory should be extended to one and all. What is the way? The Upanishadic enquiries are for sharp intellected people, perceptive people. All of them are not so. They neither have the time for it. To purchase a book, our country is poor. All people cannot purchase books. All are not literate. But the treasure is equally to be made available to one and all. So what is the way? The only way will be to render it in a manner so that all people will be able to lend their ears and listen to it. This is how the listening habit came. Bhagavad Gita in Krishna, he puts it, Shutvanyebhya upasade. They are not able to independently take up a spiritual or a religious practice and take it to perfection. So they decided, whenever we get a little free time, whenever an exposition is there, we will flock there, listen to what the pravakta or the speaker says, and we will assimilate them. This is how the culture came. So it is the same Upanishadic thinkers, the Upanishadic authors, who also gave rise to the Puranic lore, and through the Puranic lore, they were making available the inner spiritual splendor to one and all. All our narrations are meant to the common people, but mind you, though it is meant for the common people, it is sufficiently rich in enough of food for the intellectuals also to think about. From the most ancient times, this Puranic narration became a part of our culture and legacy, and even now it continues. Sreemad Bhagavatam itself is being read in the form of Saptahams because of Parikshit's that instance where he had only 7 days to listen to Sreemad Bhagavatam. So people caught on to it and they started reading it as a Saptaham. Because if Shugamuni exposed it in 7 days, we must also be able to read it in 7 days. So they start reading it very fast. And some hours of the day they are available, 2 or 3 hours, they render the story part of it. But generally they don't get time to discuss the subject in detail. Say, it was rendered in Sanskrit. And Sanskrit was the official language, particularly of kings. There used to be Sanskrit dramas, Sanskrit conversation. The inter-regional, the interstate language was Sanskrit. Just like we are using English, to some extent Hindi these days after independence, it used to be official language Sanskrit. So when Sanskrit recitation was done, invariably a listener like Parikshit knew all about it. It is just like my speaking English, that is also not available to one and all. All of you are listening to the Swamiji and you understand whatever he speaks. In the same manner, Shukamuni's exposition was also understood by Parikshit. And he only took 7 days to attain the freedom of the mind, inner absorption. So Srimad Bhagavatam is normally presented, narrated in the form of a Saptaham, 7-day affair. And in the 7 days, they will not be able to go into it. That is one part. Now, I would like you to say, Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be a Mahapurana. So the Purana word is there. I also told you about the Puranic narration becoming an important part of our legacy. I would like you as intellectuals to understand the meaning and significance of the word Purana. Why our mythological compositions are called Purana? Because it deals with the subject that is Purana. All the epics are considered to be Puranas. Purana verily denotes that which is the most ancient. Really speaking, it is an epithet of the undying and the unborn soul, the Antaratma or the Paramatma. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, which is a dialogue, warfield dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, you will find an important statement, a shloka, which Krishna speaks right in the beginning. I shall recite it, all of you hear. It is actually in the 2nd chapter, verse number 20. Na jayate mriyate va kadachid nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyah ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Why am I reciting it? I am not going to explain the whole part of the verse. That is not our subject now. I only wanted you to understand, at least I wanted to tell you, whether you will understand or not, it is your part. I cannot say much about it. But I expect that you will be understanding, and only on the assumption I go on speaking. Otherwise I should stop speaking. He says, Ajo nitya shashvato yam purano, referring to the jiva, the power and presence called life in the human body. It is generally called jiva or atma. This jiva or the atma in the body which animates the body, activates the body, shashvato yam purano. It is shashvata means eternal, purana means most ancient. Everything in this world is transitory, perishable. Even the earth on which we are living will be destroyed. Now, how much of things we are extracting from the earth? If you conduct a complete geological survey, the earth that was 200 years ago, I don't think it is the same earth now, internally as externally. Internally means in terms of the content, minerals, salts, different parts, types of oil, etc. How many barrels of oils are being extracted from under the sea? Is it a small measure? If you had taken the weight of the earth earlier and weight now, perhaps there may be a difference. Whether the weight differs or not, there is a lot of dislodgement and displacement so far as the contents and the constitution of the earth are concerned. There is a great difference. Then outwardly, so far as the climate of the earth is concerned, we are gripped by two factors: earth pollution, water pollution, and air pollution. And so far as the greenery of the earth is concerned, there is a lot of change and damage. And there is colossal global warming taking place. They say at the end of this century, we will have driven the earth to a precipice. We don't know what is going to happen. Maybe many of us may not be alive at the end of the century. Another second or third generation will have come. What is going to be the catastrophe at the present rate of global warming? Why I mention this? Only to indicate that everything in this world, in the whole universe, is transitory and perishable. Apart from the natural perishability that every planet and heavenly body has, we as denizens of the earth are contributing to the speedy destruction of things. So everything is perishable. Being so, a question arises: is there anything imperishable? Can you point out to any planet or heavenly body which is the most ancient? Even Sreemad Bhagavatam and our Puranas will say that everything undergoes a cyclic evolution. The present world is evolved at a point of time, and after evolution, transformingly, it continues to exist. After some time, as a result of transformation, it will also come to be destroyed. That destruction is called Pralaya. Maybe if the series continues, I may have an occasion to tell you with reference to the 11th skandha of Sreemad Bhagavatam, what is the type of Pralaya or dissolution that is going to take place cyclically in this world. For the time being, let us know that everything is subject to change, and this transitoriness will ultimately end up in destruction of everything. This being so, the question becomes very relevant. What is the Purana factor here? That is the soul. The soul. Ever since you were born, you started speaking about an I. The whole body, mind and intelligence continuously change, but the I does not change at all. The same I you were referring to and what it denoted, you still continue to say the I, and the same thing it denotes. So there is a changeless presence in us. And that changeless presence, as it is in us, it is everywhere. And that is the Purana that Krishna refers to. Shashvatoyam Purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Even if the body is killed, Arjuna, that Puranic element cannot be killed. Why I am mentioning this? In all the Puranas, the subject of discussion is the immortal, the unborn, the undying, the ever-present, the ever-the-same soul. The supreme reality is the subject of discussion. Now, that supreme reality is discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam in a narrational manner. And what is the distinction of Srimad Bhagavatam? That is also you should understand. Srimad Bhagavata is not just a Purana, but it is a Mahapurana. And people always say it is a Mahapurana, Mahapurana, Mahapurana. And the Mahapurana elements are no doubt there in Srimad Bhagavatam in the form of different titles, chapters, skandhas, etc. And all the features of Mahapurana are dealt with. But Srimad Bhagavata itself is not a Purana. It is a full Shastra by itself. Shastra. What does Shastra mean? It has got its own meaning. I shall explain it to you sometime. Now, for the inner spiritual splendor, why did we take up Srimad Bhagavatam? This is something that I would like you to know. You may also be curious to know. There is a background. What is that background? First of all, Sreemad Bhagavatam is a great text. Of the 18,000 Sanskrit verses it has, divided over 335 chapters and 12 skandhas, sections, you will find 80% are spiritual-philosophical. Whatever the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma Sutras are conveying, the same thing is conveyed in Srimad Bhagavatam. But the author Vyasadeva has handled it with such a beautiful and amazing mastery. He has taken up devotion, but blended it, intertwined it with Shastric elements. Everywhere is the Paramatma presented. And whenever he says Ishvara, he will immediately say Atma. Atma refers to the inmost self. Ishvara refers to the all-pervading God. All the religions speak only about God. Which God? An invisible and distant God.